My dear loyal brothers, as a result of the old Said's tendency to dwell on worldly matters, and affected by an incident in the East, the scribe who assists me describing excitedly at the beginning of Ramadan the signs of the festival at its end, and so that he should not waste the valuable time of Ramadan listening to trivia on the radio, I several times received an inner warning to explain briefly the harms of a lengthy, confused truth which is included in the fourth topic of the fruits of belief. So, I am explaining it with the intention of moderating the Risale-i students' curiosity. But, because it is very extensive and I have little time and I am in a wretched situation, you may have difficulty understanding it, so I am relying on your perspicacity. In the fourth topic of the fruits, it is said, the reason I evince no interest in world politics is that although one has few and insignificant obligations in that extensive sphere, it preoccupies the curious because of its attractions and makes them forget their true, onerous obligations, or at least makes them perform them deficiently. In any event, it engenders in them feelings of partisanship so that they condone the wrongdoing of tyrants and so participate in it. Now, I say this. You unfortunates who are gratified by the curiosity and drunken heedlessness caused by preoccupation with the events of the outside world. If you say that the curiosity and fellow feeling that are intrinsic to human nature drive you to be interested in those conflicts and events to the detriment of your essential, obligatory duties, and that it is natural and an inner need, then I say the following. Know certainly that some people do not know this or are not curious about the miraculous creation of the human being. Yet, if they see someone with 2 heads or 3 legs, they gaze at him, transfixed by curiosity, and if you disregard mankind's far-reaching, temporary, transitory, destructive events this century, and take a look at just the bee nation and grape species in the springtime, out of the 100,000 nations and species on the face of the earth, which like the human species manifest innumerable wondrous happenings, you will see events that give rise to spiritual, non-material pleasures, and are 100 times more curiosity arising than those events among mankind. To disregard those 3 pleasures and to become attached with such abounding curiosity and gratification to mankind's harmful, evil, temporary affairs might be possible if one were going to remain permanently in this world, and everyone was going to reap some harm or benefit from those events, and the people who were the apparent cause of them were the true agents and cause. But they are ephemeral, like atmospheric conditions. The actual effects of those who apparently cause them are negligible. They cannot send those harms or benefits from the East or the Pacific Ocean. So it is indescribably crazy to disregard the dominicality and wisdom of the most pure and holy one who is nearer to you than yourself and has disposal over your heart and who creates and controls your body and to evade harm or benefit from the very ends of the earth. Moreover, curiosity and interest of this kind are extremely harmful with regard to belief and reality. For politics is the most extensive sphere and it causes heedlessness. It plunges people into this world and makes them forget the true human obligations and the next world. Particularly events like this that take the form of universal struggles, they suffocate the heart too. One has to have belief as brilliant as the sun to be able to see the traces and works of divine determining and dominical power in everything, in every situation and every action, so that the heart should not be plunged into the darkness of tyranny and belief be extinguished, nor the reason deviate into nature and chance. In fact, the people of reality try to forget the spirits of multiplicity in their search for truth and knowledge of God, lest their hearts are dissipated and curiosity, enthusiasm, and pleasure which should be directed towards necessary valuable things, are wasted on unnecessary transient things. It is due to this important reason that apart from some of the prophets, upon whom be blessings and peace, companions who served the principles of religion and had belief like the sun, and the mujahids and righteous people of early Islam who resembled them, for the most part politicians are not completely God-fearing and religious. People who are completely God-fearing and religious do not become involved in politics. That is to say, for people who make politics their primary aim, religion remains in second place and is as though subsidiary. The truly religious, however, consider humankind's worship of God and servitude to Him to be the highest aim of the cosmos, and regard politics not with passionate interest but in second or third place, and if possible try to make it the tool of religion and the truth. Otherwise, politics resembles making everlasting diamonds the tool of common, frangible pieces of glass. In short, just as drunkenness temporarily causes one to forget the pains and needs arising from true duties and yields inauspicious, fleeting pleasures, so too, following transitory struggles and conflicts inquisitively is a sort of drunkenness which produces an unpropitious pleasure, since it temporarily makes one forget the needs arising from true duties and the pains arising from not performing them. It also causes one to fall into a perilous despair, which is opposed to the divine command of the verse, despair not of the mercy of God, and so to deserve a slap. Similarly, one may be the object of the severe divine threat contained in the verse, and incline not to those who do wrong, or the fire will touch you, and receive its slap. For you will in effect be participating in the tyranny of oppressors, and so rightfully suffer punishment in this world and the next. Nevertheless, I felt a meaningful disquiet in my heart and was then consoled. It occurred to my heart that in consequence of these widespread struggles, a danger more harmful than that resulting from the First World War would be born, and an Antichrist-like savagery would emerge in Europe, which is the source and prop of civilization. The consolation for this anxiety was that with the full awakening of the Islamic world and the New World and Christianity following the authentic principles of their religion, and their uniting with Islam, and with the Gospels uniting with and following the Quran, together and with heavenly assistance they might withstand those two awesome future currents and overcome them, God willing. I send my greetings to each and every one of my brothers, and congratulate you on the night of power which is to come or has passed. My dear loyal brothers, I have received through you the long, detailed letter written by the Husrev of Denizli, Hasan Feyzi, and I understood that just as a seed is planted in the ground so that it may produce numerous shoots, so the late martyr Risale-i entered under the ground in the field there, where he has produced and will produce the shoots of 30 or 40 Risalis. I felt certain of this. Write the following to Hasan Feyzi and to those who are striving to serve the Risale-i Nur. In the space of 1 or 2 years, the Denizli heroes have performed 20 years service for the Risale-i Nur. We Nur students can never forget this good act of theirs, and in our view Denizli has become a second Sparta, just as its prison even is a sort of Nur school. The people mentioned in Feyzi's letter, and especially the just judge, and those working with him to establish true justice like Che, He, Me, and the lawyer Ziya have made not only ourselves, but also Anatolia and the Islamic world indebted to them. They took it on themselves to protect the Risale-i Nur like us. If necessary, I can send to them on trust the collections that have been handed over to me so they may read them to others. If necessary, the books that remain there can be kept on condition they are not left unused. Anyone who has the large collections may keep them on condition they do not neglect them and they read them to others, if possible, including the prison. If further copies are wanted, we can send them there. Since Denizli has in a short time produced for us and for the Risale-i Nur heroic devotees and brothers, if I could, I would pass the rest of my days in their blessed prison, perfectly happily. I send my greetings to all the friends who are concerned with us and whom we met in prison or assisted us like Beylerbeyi Süleyman and Tavazlı Mehmet Çavuş. They are always included in our spiritual gains and prayers. And I congratulate particularly all those named in Feyzi's letter and everyone on Ramazan and the night of power. Truly, Milaslı Halil Ibrahim is a Risale-i Nur student as firm and unshakable as steel. His town should be proud of him. Also, the two brilliant versified pieces he and Hasan Feyzi wrote out of their regard for me, which is 100 times greater than I deserve, address the Risale-i Nur, and I accept them as their having composed them as a screen and incidental title to my unimportant self. How could I possess such qualities? I send many greetings to him and to the Risale-i Nur's lawyer Ahmet Feyzi, and to their friends, and to our old heroic brother, Şefik, and I pray for them. My brothers, just as the serpent sign was composed in Ramadan, and as far as I know was printed in Ramadan and arrived in Sparta, and in Ramadan was read freely and entered the mosques to be read publicly, so this Ramadan, the Hizb-i Nuriye, which bears the meaning of an hour's reflection is equal to a year's supererogatory worship, emerged from the supreme sign. Similarly, through the effulgence and blessings of the supreme sign, around 2 pages were imparted to my heart through the light of Ramadan, which express the true meaning of the phrase, "There is no God but God," which is recited 33 times in our tesbihat following the 5 daily prayers. Now I can read the whole of the supreme sign in 10 minutes, and as it says in the introduction, at each degree in my imagination the universal tongue of the globe of the earth becomes my tongue and utters, "There is no God but God." And the seas and mountains, the tongues of the elements and the classes of humanity become my tongues, proclaiming, "There is no God but God." And as each declares, "There is no God but God," I declare it in the tongue of either the earth or the heavens or the atmosphere or the elements. God willing, it shall be sent to you. The enduring one, he is the enduring one, your brother Said Nursi. Appendix to the letter disclosing a divine bestowal. We included this at the head of the Quranic signs. This is the first of 8 pieces confirming the Risale-i Nur's acceptance and giving news of its true signs from the unseen. This treatise contains 29 signs indicating this same question. Together with the other pieces, the nearly 1000 signs, indications, symbols, hints, and allusions to this same matter and mission are virtually explicit. By reason of there being only one question, all those signs confirm and corroborate each other. 3 of the 8 pieces show that Imam Ali, may God be pleased with him, gave news of the Risale-i Nur through wondrous predictions. The Ankara Experts Committee studied these 8 treatises and did not object to them. They just said that people with the power to perform marvels should not put them down in writing. So I replied to them saying that they were not my wonders, but those of the Risale-i Nur, and the Risale-i Nur belongs to the Quran and is a commentary on it. They remained silent at this, which means they accepted it. Actually, it would have been more appropriate if divine bestowals of this sort had not been written, but it became a definite necessity in order to strengthen our moral resolve and constancy with assistance from the unseen, since we are so few and weak and wanting, and are confronted by innumerable powerful enemies. So I wrote them down. Even if it causes my decline due to self-advertisement and egotism, that is not important. For I consider it most fortunate to sacrifice both my worldly life, if necessary, and the next life for the service, that is, to save the believers from absolute misguidance. I would have it to go to hell so that my thousands of friends and brothers might go to paradise. My dear, loyal brothers, I have now to tell you about a state of mind I have so that you are not offended for the wrong reason. It is this. I suffer from a severe, chronic indisposition resulting from the oppression I have suffered these last 20 years. I have anyway suffered from its symptoms for a long time. It is unsociability, that is, aloofness from people and avoiding having contact with them, and being upset at being in touch with them. Now, even my spirit cannot abide meeting with even the most sensitive of my brothers and students if it is not about the Risale-i Nur service. People looking at me in a friendly way also affects me badly. One cause of this meaningful condition is the tyranny and persecution people have subjected me to, but it is also a chief means of divine grace being manifested and the justice of divine determining and of preserving sincerity in our serving belief, which reduce to nothing the tyranny and human cruelty and make me love the sickness and induce in me patience and forbearance. Due to their baseless suspicions, people constantly prevented me from having contact with others, producing a nervous condition. So, through His grace, Almighty God gave me this illness so that sincerity in our work for belief should not be damaged, and so that I should not be forced to adopt an artificial, self-advertising stance or to be insincere or pretentious towards those who think excessively well of me, and to save me from the love and regard for my person which affects me very badly at this time, and from having to show myself as enjoying a spiritual rank which would be detrimental to our service, and not to reduce to the value of pieces of glass by ascribing them to myself, the diamond-like truths of the Risale-i Nur, which proceed from the Quran. So, I offer thanks to Almighty God, and for your part, you should not be offended, but pleased. But still I need your prayers so that I may endure the completely natural distress. My dear brothers, I had a look at some of the books that were handed over to us, the large collections with the gilded covers, and I saw that the treatises written out by the diamond pens of the light and rose factories, and some of those collections containing 15 or 20 treatises between the gilded covers, were each like diamond swords defending themselves against their enemies in the high courts and in high positions. I have no doubt that it was a great instance of divine favor, because for absolutely no reason we suddenly started putting the treatises of the Risale-i Nur into collections 5 months before we were sent to prison, and we understood the reason for the scientists' defeat. For especially when on the defensive, the power burn of coming together and cooperating is far greater than the power of the individual parts. My brothers, I should have told you long ago, but I forgot. The wondrous 29th word is only that word's first station. Its second station, owing to its importance, is the Arabic 29th flash, which in a way Imam Ali, may God be pleased with him, called the supreme sign too. It elucidates the lights in the degrees of the other tasbihat, as in Allahu Akbar, and is a source of the Hizb Nuriyah. I send my greetings to each and every one of my brothers and pray for them. I congratulate you on the night of power, which concealed maybe any night now. Your brother, Said Nursi. My dear loyal brothers, for our part, we also congratulate you on Ramadan. Your dream was indeed blessed. God willing, it is a sign that He will bestow abundant grace on you. The greatest bestowal and duty at the present time is saving belief. But beware, avoid things that provoke egotism and pride. It is absolutely essential that at the present time the people of reality practice humility and self-abnegation and renounce egotism. For the greatest danger this age arises from egotism and self-advertisement. The people of truth and reality, therefore, have always to humbly see their faults and accuse their own souls. The heroic defense of belief and worship under these severe conditions people such as yourselves perform is a high station. Get hold of a copy of the part of the Risale-i Nur about the reality of the Sufi paths called the 9 Illusions, Telbihat-ı Tis'a, and take a look at it. Staunch, faithful, and sincere persons like yourself should enter into the Risale-i Nur's fold. For the Risale-i Nur is undefeated this age in the face of all attacks. It has made even its most obdurate enemies accept its freedom. In fact, following their investigations over the last 2 years, the judiciary and high-ranking officials have confirmed its free publication and given the decision for all its parts, both general and confidential, to be returned to their owners. The Risale-i Nur's way has not been defeated like the Sufi orders and other ways. Indeed, it has been victorious and brought numerous obstinate people to believe, which proves that it is a miracle of the Quran's meanings, as is testified to by many incidents. Events have given me the firm conviction that outside the Risale-i Nur's fold, service of religion is mostly deficient in this country and either is partial, minor, or just personal, or defeated and underground, or condones innovations, or utilizes forced interpretations and corruptions of the holy text. Since you possess powerful belief and strong spiritual influence, you should become staunch students of the Risale-i Nur with complete sincerity and humility, so that you may share in the spiritual partnership of thousands or perhaps hundreds of thousands of students which looks to the hereafter, and your good works and virtues may become universal rather than particular, and your trade for the next life may be truly profitable. Said Nursi. My dear loyal brothers, today I took a look at a large gilded and bound collection containing the pieces sent to me as a memento by the innocent children and community of unlettered elderly, which was one of the books handed over to me by the court after 2 years' investigation. It occurred to me to send you a short piece included at the beginning of the collection, which I had written for Kastamonu. Perhaps a copy was sent to you before. I felt certain that this collection, written with innocent sincerity by the children and unlettered, had played an important part in defeating the philosophers and the obdurate. It had broken their obduracy and caused the unjust to be fair-minded. We had gathered together in 3 volumes the pieces sent to me by the unlettered, and I am sending you the piece that I saw had been written at the beginning. I am sending together with this a collection composed of 8 pieces indicating the Risale-i Nur's acceptance, and a piece that deserves to be written at the beginning of the collection, which in addition to the wonders of the Gawsul Azam, the wonders of Imam Ali, and the Quranic science, has had added to it 3 or 4 pieces consisting of additional letters and so on. I send my greetings to my brothers, and especially to the innocents and the unlettered, and I pray for them and await their prayers. And I ask God to bless them. Whoever sees their writings applauds them delightedly. They sent me the copies written by 50 to 60 innocent young students, and I have collected them together in 3 volumes. Below are some of them as an example: Ömer, 15 years old, Mustafa, 13, Hafız Nebi, 14, Hicret, 15, Hüseyin, 11, Ahmet Zeki, 13, Ayşe, 11, Hafız Ahmet, 12, Mustafa, 13, Bekir, 9, Ali, 12, Ayşe, 11. The treatises in this collection are just some that the innocent children have written and taken lessons from the Risale-i Nur. Their serious efforts at this time shows that the Risale-i Nur provides greater pleasure, joy, and zeal than all the amusements and incentives they have taught up in the secular schools to encourage the children to study. This shows that the Risale-i Nur is taking root. God willing, nothing will be able to root it out, and it will continue down forthcoming generations. Just like these innocent young students, the illiterate elderly who enter the inviting fold of the Risale-i Nur learn to read and write after the age of 40 or 50 for the Risale-i Nur's sake. The 40 or 50 pieces they have written are included in 2 or 3 collections. The way these elderly, untaught people and some shepherds and mountain folk are working for the Risale-i Nur in preference to anything in the extraordinary conditions of the times shows that the need for it is greater than the need for bread, and that the harvesters, farmers, shepherds, and foresters consider the truths of the Risale-i Nur to be a need more essential than other essential needs. I had the greatest difficulty correcting what the innocents and elderly untaught people had written in this and the other 6 volumes. I did not have the time. But then it occurred to me, and I was as though told, don't get fed up. Since what they have written can't be read quickly, as the people have to read it slowly, and the intellect, and the heart, and the spirit, and the soul, and the emotions may receive their share of the Risale-i Nur's truths, which are like food and sustenance. Otherwise, only the intellect receives a partial share, and the other faculties remain without sustenance. The Risale-i Nur should not be read like other books and sciences, for the sciences of certain affirmative belief that it contains do not resemble other sorts of knowledge. They are the sustenance and light of numerous subtle human faculties besides the reason. In short, there are 2 advantages in the deficient writings of innocent children and the illiterate elderly. The first is that they force one to read slowly and carefully. The second is listening from their innocent, sincere, sweet tongues the glorious, profound matters of the Risale-i Nur and taking lessons from them. The enduring one, he is the enduring one, your brother Said Nursi.